Hi, beautiful soul. Before we even start today, have you ever had that strange, quiet feeling that something in you already knows something you haven't said out loud yet? That's not your imagination. That's your higher self. And it's been trying to reach you for a while. And I want to say this before we go any further. Time isn't linear, not really. So it doesn't matter if you're watching this the day it goes up, or you find it a year from now, 5 years from now. This message will meet you exactly where you are, right now, in this moment. Everything aligned to bring you here, to this exact moment. Your future self brought you here. This is you, calling yourself back to you. And I want you to know something about me before we go any further too. I'm not here to tell you anything you don't already know somewhere inside you. Think of me as the facilitator. Imagine we're sitting across a table from each other, and all I'm really doing is helping you remember what's already true. There are 3 ways this message might find you today. I'm going to read all 3 in full, one after another. As I go, choose the one that best represents the way you see yourself, or the way you think others tend to see you. Whichever one fits, that's yours. You don't have to guess. You don't have to pick blind. Just listen. And it's absolutely okay if more than one feels true, or if none of them do. I have other videos covering other topics, and this one just might not be the one for you today. That's okay too. So take what resonates. Leave the rest for someone who needs it. Let me tell you a little bit about each one before we dive in. The first is for someone who feels like they always have to have it together. Like rest is dangerous. Like the moment you stop achieving, stop managing, stop holding it all up, something might fall apart. And if those words don't quite land, notice the color instead. This one shows a crystal butterfly in golden white light on a soft ivory card brushed with gold. Sometimes the color pulls you in before the words ever do. We'll call this the Perfectionism card. Or, if that word doesn't sit right, the Overachiever card fits it just as well. The second is for someone who learned love by putting everyone else first. Noticing every mood in the room before your own. Holding everyone so carefully you forgot to hold yourself. This one is a warm rose gold card with a crystal heart wreathed in blossoms. We'll call this the Caretaker card. The third is for someone who learned that being seen wasn't always safe. So you got quiet. You got small. You got easy to overlook. Because unseen felt safer than rejected. This one is deep indigo and purple, brushed with gold, with a full moon rising over quiet, flowering branches. We'll call this the Invisible card. So now you have your 3 cards. Go ahead and pause here if you need a moment to feel which one is calling you. Take your time. I'll be right here when you get back. And while you're paused, go ahead and drop the number or even just the color of the card you're drawn to right there in the comments. Don't overthink it. Whatever you're feeling right now is enough. We'll come back to this at the end after you've heard your full reading. Welcome back. Before we dive into your card, I want to explain something because I think it'll help all of this land differently. When we're small, we don't have words yet for what's happening to us. We just have instinct. And that instinct is doing one thing always, trying to keep us safe, trying to keep us loved, trying to make sure our needs get met. Now, sometimes that comes from something scary, real fear, real danger. But honestly, more often, it's so much simpler than that. It's not always fear. Sometimes it's just a need that didn't quite get met. And that not fully met can look like a lot of things. One single moment that left a mark, or something quieter, stretched out over years, like a need that just never got fully seen or answered. Either way, you noticed, very young, that something you needed wasn't fully there. And your nervous system, brilliant, resourceful, went looking for a way to close that gap. So it picked a tool, a strategy, a pattern, a story. And it worked. That's the important part. It worked, or you wouldn't still be carrying it all these years later. Now here's the part I really want you to understand, because it's the whole reason any of this took hold in the first place. A child's mind doesn't work like an adult's. Children are naturally self-referential. Everything that happens around them, they make about them. A need that goes unmet, words that were said, or words that never got said at all. A child will almost always turn that into a story about who they are. Not because it's true, because that's simply how a young mind makes sense of the world. And that story, repeated enough, believed long enough, is exactly where the ego identity comes from. Not from something being wrong with you. From a child doing the only thing a child can do with an unmet need, making it personal, and building an identity around it. And here's something worth knowing too. That story might not even be entirely accurate to what actually happened. It couldn't be. It got filtered through a much smaller brain, trying to make sense of a situation it didn't have the tools to fully understand yet. That's not a flaw in you. That's just what a child's mind does with what it's given. So it's not really about going back and litigating whether the story is true anymore. That's not the point. The point is, it's just a memory now. It's not happening. Whether you felt unsafe back then or a need simply wasn't met, that's over. You're here, now, in the present moment. And from right here, you get to be your own comforter, your own protector, the one who shows up for you now, the way you needed someone to back then. That's really the work, underneath every card you could have chosen today. It doesn't matter what the specific pattern or story turns out to be. The work is the same. Acknowledge it. Let the old energy of it move through you instead of holding it in place. And then, once there's room, we replace it with the truth about who you actually are. That current running underneath all of it, the old pattern, the old story, always there, moving quietly whether you're paying attention to it or not. That's what I mean when I say the quiet river. I'll come back to that phrase again, so keep it in mind. It's just a way of naming the thing that's been running this whole time, long before you ever had words for it. And I want to name something else too, before we get into your card. That protective part of you we've been talking about, the one that built the pattern, the one running the story, that's what I mean when I say the ego identity. And I want you to know it's probably active right now, even as you're listening to this. That's okay. We're not here to fight it or silence it. We're just here to reveal a new truth, one card at a time, and let that truth sit right alongside the old one until it's the old one that finally loosens its grip. I also want to say something to anyone here who's been asking, what is my purpose? Why am I here? If that's you, I want to gently pause that question for a moment. Because before purpose, there's something more foundational. Your only real purpose right now in this moment is to awaken. That's it. As your awareness shifts, as you start to remember, you naturally begin to align and resonate with your higher self, your divine essence, your immortal soul. Purpose reveals itself from there. You don't have to go chasing it first. And here's something worth understanding about how all of this actually works. What you feel and what you act from that becomes your reality. If a thought keeps circling, I'm not good enough, this is what they say about me, I am this, and you keep repeating it even quietly, even just to yourself, that's not neutral, especially when it starts with the words, I am. Whatever follows I am tends to become the thing your reality organizes itself around. Underneath that, there's usually a buried wound. That's really what the quiet river is, not just a pattern running in the background, but a wound buried long enough that it stopped feeling like a wound at all. Exposing it isn't about reopening pain. It's about letting the energy that's been trapped there finally move, finally flow, instead of staying stuck in the body. And when that happens, your frequency naturally rises. Your beliefs about yourself shift, and your reality shifts right along with them. This isn't a belief system, by the way. I'm not asking you to believe anything. This is simply how energy works. You are part of the same divine, co-creative energy as everything else in this universe. Reality itself doesn't choose good or bad for you. It just follows your direction. So the direction we're working on together right now is bringing you back to the truth of who you already are. So, we're getting ready to read card 1. If this isn't your card and you'd rather skip ahead, the timestamps are right there in the description for you. Welcome to the Perfectionism card. This one shows a crystal butterfly in golden white light, a soft ivory card brushed through with gold. If you're the one who became perfect, here's what I think you need to hear. Something might already be coming to mind as I say that. You might even feel it somewhere in your body. If so, that's not a coincidence. That's just an indication you're on the right track. That this is something ready to be let go of. Something you're about to bring fully into your awareness. Here's what I think happened. Somewhere back when you were very small, you noticed. Maybe not dramatically, maybe just quietly, that being excellent got you something. Attention, approval, maybe just less criticism. It might not have been fear driving this at all. It might have been simpler than that. A need that just wasn't fully being met. And your nervous system, doing exactly what nervous systems do, went looking for the fastest way to close that gap. And it found one. Be flawless, and the gap closes. So you got very good at being excellent. And it worked. That's worth honoring. It actually worked. People praised you. People relied on you. But somewhere in there, rest started to feel dangerous. Like the moment you stopped achieving, stopped managing, stopped holding it all together, something might fall apart. Or worse, someone might see you're not actually as put together as you look. Energetically, this pattern runs high and tight, always reaching upward toward the next thing to prove. That was never a character flaw. That was a tool. Your nervous system built it and used it because, at the time, it was the smartest tool available. And I want to pause on something here because it matters. This isn't really a character flaw. And honestly, it's not even just a character trait either. A lot of people would look at this and think, I'm just organized. I get things done. I'm capable. And that's true. None of that is the problem. You can be capable. You can help people, get things handled, be the one others rely on. And none of that has to cost you anything at all. The pattern isn't the capability. It's what's underneath it. When getting it right becomes the thing that has to happen before you're allowed to feel okay. When you find yourself making sure everyone else is fine, everything else is handled, before you'll let yourself actually rest or actually feel at peace. That's the part worth noticing. Not, am I organized? But, do I need everyone and everything around me to be okay before I'll let myself be okay? So here's the flip. You've been telling yourself, I have to be perfect to be safe. Let's turn that over. What if perfect was never actually the requirement? What if it was just the first solution a very young, very smart part of you came up with? And it's been running on autopilot ever since, long after the need behind it either got met or simply stopped mattering the way it used to. Underneath all of that striving, there's a quieter current that's been running the whole time. Something that was never trying to prove anything, never needed to be flawless to be worth loving. That part doesn't have to be built. It's already there, underneath the armor, waiting. You don't have to fix this today. Just let it land in your awareness. If you want to go further, this is a good one to sit with, maybe even journal on. Where, right now, does this pattern still run the show? You don't have to keep proving. You get to just be the one who was never actually in question to begin with. Now, zoom out with me for a moment. Let everything we just talked about settle. Instead of reaching for perfect, I want to offer you something to lean on instead. Not another thing to achieve, just something to remember. You are already whole. And I want you to actually feel this with me now, not just hear it. So take a slow breath in through your nose. As you inhale, imagine a soft, white gold light beginning to gather just above your head. Bright but gentle, like early morning sun catching through a window. You may have been drawn to this card because of that very light, the golden butterfly glowing at its center. That wasn't just decoration. That is exactly the light we're calling back into you right now. As you exhale, let that light begin to pour downward, through the crown of your head, down through your throat, settling now in the center of your chest. Feel it start to spread there, warm, slow, like something quietly waking back up. This is your energy, all of it. Every part of you that's been scattered out there, chasing the next thing to prove, the next thing to get right, the next way to earn your place. It's returning now, gathering back into this light, right here in your chest. Feel it move outward from there, down through your arms, into your hands, down through your torso, your legs, into the soles of your feet, anchoring you fully into this moment, fully into your body, fully home. There's nothing left to prove here, only this, light returning to light. When you're ready, place a hand over your heart if that feels right, and say this with me, out loud or within. I receive this energy back. I am home, exactly as I am. And moving forward, I carry this awareness and this peace with me. You were always this. And the next time life calls on your perfect self to show up, you don't have to disappear into it anymore. You can do the thing and still stay right here with yourself. Before we move on, there's one more thing. This whole time, we've been reading your card and we've never once turned it over. So let's do that now. I want to unveil something sacred to you. Perfectionism was never a flaw. It was the lesson you came here to learn, and you're learning it right now just by hearing this. You are sacred in every way possible. This is your message, if this was your card. I invite you to stay here with it for a while. And if you found yourself pulled toward a different card instead, sometimes the color calls you before the word ever does, I invite you to stay for that one instead. Let's move now to the second card in the group. Now, whether you've been here with me since card 1, or you skipped straight to this one because something about it pulled you first, welcome. Either way, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. This is the message for the one who became the caretaker, card 2. This one shows a crystal heart wreathed in blossoms on a warm rose gold card. If you resonated with this card, maybe it was the color that caught you first, or maybe it was the word caretaker itself. This one's yours. Notice, right now, whether you're already scanning this message for how it might help someone else you know. That instinct, that's exactly what we're about to talk about. You learned love by being needed, by noticing the mood in the room before anyone said a word. And here's what I don't think gets said enough. This usually isn't born from something dramatic. Nobody has to be a bad parent for a child to learn this. Sometimes it's as simple as a house that was busy, or tired, or had a lot going on. And somewhere very young, you noticed that being useful got you attention that just being yourself didn't quite get on its own. Your nervous system found the gap, and it built you a bridge across it. If I'm needed, I get to stay close. So you became the one people call. The one who remembers birthdays, smooths arguments, holds everyone's feelings so carefully, while quietly, underneath it, your own needs got smaller and smaller, until you almost stopped noticing you had any. This pattern runs outward energetically, constantly giving, constantly aimed at everyone but its own source. It was never selflessness for its own sake. It was a tool, and a good one. It kept you close to people, kept you valuable, kept you safe. But a river that only pours out and never gets refilled runs dry eventually. That's not a flaw in you. That's just how energy works. And I want to pause on something here too, because it matters just as much for this pattern as it did for perfectionism. A lot of people would look at this and think, I'm just a good friend. I'm just someone who shows up for people. And that's true. None of that is the problem. You can genuinely care about people. You can show up, help, give, and none of that has to cost you anything at all. The pattern isn't the caring. It's what's underneath it. When giving becomes the thing that has to happen before you're allowed to receive. When you find yourself managing everyone else's needs so completely, your own simply stop registering at all. That's the part worth noticing. Not, am I a caring person? But, do I only let myself be loved once I've earned it first? So here's the flip. You've been telling yourself, I have to take care of everyone to deserve love. Let's turn that over. What if you were never actually required to earn your place by disappearing your own needs? Underneath all that giving, there's a version of you that was never keeping score, never performing usefulness to stay loved. She was just here, worth staying close to, long before she ever did anything for anyone. You don't have to solve this today, just notice it. And if you want to go deeper, here's a question worth sitting with, maybe even journaling on. Whose needs are you meeting right now that nobody actually asked you to meet? You're allowed to receive without repaying it first. You're allowed to just be held. Now, zoom out with me for a moment. I want you to imagine yourself as a lighthouse, standing tall, steady, shining your light outward the way you always have. But notice something. A lighthouse doesn't run out to sea to save every ship itself. It just stands and it shines, and the light does the work. It never has to abandon its own ground to be useful. Instead of reaching for needed, I want to offer you something to lean on instead. Not another person to hold. Just something to remember. You are already worth staying close to, exactly as you are, doing nothing at all. And I want you to actually feel this with me now, not just hear it. Take a slow breath in through your nose. As you inhale, imagine a soft rose gold light beginning to gather just above your head. You may have been drawn to this card because of that very light, the crystal heart glowing at its center. That wasn't just decoration. That is exactly the light we're calling back into you right now. As you exhale, let that light begin to pour downward, through the crown of your head, down through your throat, settling now in the center of your chest. Feel it start to spread there, warm, soft, like something that's been waiting a long time to finally be tended to. This is your energy, all of it, every part of you that's been poured outward, given away, spent on everyone else's needs before your own. It's returning now, gathering back into this light, right here in your chest. Feel it move outward from there, down through your arms, into your hands, the same hands that have spent so long giving, down through your torso, your legs, into the soles of your feet, anchoring you fully into this moment, fully into your body, fully home. There's nothing left to earn here, only this, light returning to light. When you're ready, place a hand over your heart if that feels right, and say this with me, out loud or within. I receive this energy back. I am home, exactly as I am. And moving forward, I carry this awareness and this peace with me. You were always this. And the next time someone needs you, you can still show up, but you don't have to disappear to do it. Before we move on, there's one more thing. This whole time we've been reading your card, and we've never once turned it over. So let's do that now. I want to unveil something sacred to you. Being the caretaker was never a flaw. It was the lesson you came here to learn, and you're learning it right now, just by hearing this. You are worthy of the same care you give away so freely. This is your message, if this was your card. I invite you to stay here with it for a while. And if you found yourself pulled toward a different card instead, sometimes the color calls you before the word ever does. I invite you to stay for that one instead. Let's move now to the third card in the group. Now, however you got here, whether you've been with me since the first card, or this is the one that pulled you in on its own, welcome. You're exactly where you're meant to be. This is the message for the one who became invisible. Card 3. This one is deep indigo and purple, brushed with gold, a full moon, rising quietly over flowering branches. If you resonated with this card, the color, the quiet of it, or the word itself, this one's yours. Notice right now whether some part of you is already trying to shrink this message down, already thinking, it's probably not even that deep. That instinct is exactly the pattern we're about to name. Somewhere along the way, you learned that being seen wasn't always safe. Maybe there was a real moment of rejection in there. Maybe you were told directly that you were too much. Or maybe it was quieter than that. Maybe nobody ever said a word, and you just noticed, very young, that taking up space came with a cost you didn't want to keep paying. Either way, your nervous system found the pattern that worked. Stay small, stay quiet, and the risk goes down. So you got excellent at not needing anything, at blending in, at being fine, so nobody would ever have a reason to push you away. Energetically, this pattern runs contracted, a light turned down on purpose, not because it burned out, but because it learned dimming was safer than shining. It takes real energy to keep a light that small, more than it looks like from the outside. That dimming was never weakness. It was a strategy, and it worked. You're still here. And I want to pause on something here too, the same way I did for the first two cards. A lot of people would look at this pattern and think, I'm just quiet, I'm just easygoing, that's just my personality. And that's true. None of that is the problem. You can be quiet, you can need very little, take up very little space, and none of that has to cost you anything at all. The pattern isn't the quiet, it's what's underneath it. When staying small becomes the price of being allowed to stay at all. When you've gotten so good at not needing anything, the people around you have stopped even wondering if you do. That's the part worth noticing. Not, am I a low-maintenance person, but have I made myself smaller so no one would ever have a reason to leave? So here's the flip. You've been telling yourself, I have to stay small to stay safe. Let's turn that over. What if the people who couldn't hold your full light were never actually the ones you needed to keep? Underneath the dimming, there's a light that was never actually too much for anyone. It just never got met by people with room for all of it. You don't have to fix this today, just notice it. And if you want to sit with it longer, maybe journal on this. Where in your life right now are you making yourself smaller than you actually are? You're allowed to take up space again. Slowly, if that's what feels true. But you don't have to keep dimming a light that was never the problem. Now, zoom out with me for a moment. I want you to imagine yourself standing on top of a mountain, under a wide open sky, the moon rising just above you. Not hiding in the trees below, not tucked into the valley, right up on the peak where there's nowhere left to blend into. From up here, notice how far your light could actually reach if you let it. Instead of reaching for small, I want to offer you something to lean on instead. Not a spotlight you have to earn, just something to remember. You were never actually too much. You were only ever dimmed. And I want you to actually feel this with me now. But this time, we're not calling anything in from somewhere else. It's already here. We're just going to turn it back up. Take a slow breath in through your nose. As you do, bring your attention to the very center of your chest, right where you already are. There's a light there. It's been there the whole time, turned down low, quiet, careful not to draw too much attention. Imagine your hand resting gently on the dial, and with your next exhale, turn it up, just slightly. Feel what that does. Notice any warmth, any brightness, any hum that wasn't quite there a moment ago. That's not something new arriving. That's yours, simply being allowed to be seen again, starting with you seeing it first. Let it rise a little more with your next breath, not to blind anyone, just enough to actually be visible to yourself first. Feel it settle now, steady, glowing exactly as bright as it was always meant to. Not hidden, not muted, just yours. When you're ready, place a hand over your heart if that feels right, and say this with me, out loud or within. I receive this light back. I am home exactly as I am. And moving forward, I carry this awareness and this peace with me. You were always this, and the next time you feel the urge to dim yourself down to be safe, you don't have to disappear to be loved. You're allowed to be fully seen and stay exactly where you are. Before we move on, there's one more thing. This whole time we've been reading your card, and we've never once turned it over. So let's do that now. I want to unveil something sacred to you. Being invisible was never a flaw. It was the lesson you came here to learn, and you're learning it right now, just by hearing this. You were never too much. You were only ever waiting to be seen. And I want you to know something else in this moment. You were never actually doing this alone. Even in all that quiet, all that dimming, you've always been held by something far bigger than you, something that never once lost sight of you, even in the years you made yourself hard to find. You are more than you have ever let yourself believe. You always have been. This is your message, if this was your card. I invite you to stay here with it for a while. And that's all three. However you got here, whichever card found you, I'm glad it did. So, perfect, caretaker, invisible. Three very different strategies. But look closer, and they're really the same question, answered three different ways. How do I stay safe here? How do I stay loved here? How do I belong here? None of those strategies were wrong. They were brilliant, actually, for a much smaller, much younger version of you, doing the best it could with what it had. But here's the truth underneath all three. You were never any of those roles. You were never the perfect one, or the caretaker, or the invisible one. Those were things you learned to become. Underneath every single one of them, something never changed at all. Something that was never in danger, never scattered, never actually lost. That part of you is still there. It's not something you have to build. It's something you get to remember. Earlier, I asked you to drop the number or the color that pulled you before you'd heard a word of your reading. Now that you've actually heard it, I want you to come back and comment again. Same spot. Tell me what it revealed, what came up for you, what you're bringing into your awareness now that you didn't have before we started. Because this isn't really me talking at you. Card by card, this is you revealing yourself to yourself. And I'd love to know I was here with you for the whole thing, before and after. If any part of this helped you today, it costs you nothing to hit like, but it tells me, and it tells the algorithm, that this actually reached someone. That matters more than you'd think. And if you'd like another reading like this one, go ahead and subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next one. Every video is another chance to return to yourself. If any part of this found you today, I'd love for you to keep going. I made a video that walks through this more deeply. It's called From Survivor Self to Soul Self, and it's really the fuller version of everything we just touched on. It's linked right here. I mentioned earlier that I made something just for this, and I want to say it properly now. It's a simple web app right on your phone called Return to You. You can pull 3 cards a day, just like we did together here today. So instead of scrolling past another few minutes of your life, I hope you'll take that moment instead to actually reflect, to actually come back to yourself. It's linked in the description below. Until next time, I'm so glad this message found you.